All right, YouTube. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here. Um, Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. This is a live stream talking about the early signing period for Auburn. Want to give you guys a little bit of time to chime in to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. Want to give a big War Eagle to all of the Auburn fans out there. This has been a challenging, actually, it's been a challenging last few weeks, especially with Gus Malzahn as head coach. A lot of folks won't agree with this, but Gus Malzahn wasn't particularly the hometown favorite at Auburn. Now he is out. He's out a couple of days before the signing period. And of course, the early signing period happens today. And we want to talk about it. Now, here's some house rules. I really love you guys coming on here. I want you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. Once we get into the content, I want you to leave a comment. As of now, I'm a little disappointed that no one has left a comment. I'm also disappointed that no one has clicked the dollar sign and gave Vernon Speaks Sports like $2.99 for coming on here at 10 o'clock at night, talking to you crazies about these Auburn Tigers, but that's all good. But I want you all to stay engaged with the channel. This has been a very challenging week for the Auburn Tigers. And as always, just to be a little consistent, it's always great to be an Auburn Tiger War Eagle. So we want to talk about the early signing period, the good, the bad, the ugly. Now, by show of hands, which one would you all like to see first? Because sometimes when you're in business, you have a situation where you have your leadership that comes in and say, hey, I got some good news and I got some bad news. Which one do you want to hear first? Most people want to hear the bad news first. Now, here is the ugly news, the real ugly news. For one, the ugly news is your rival has just shellacked you all over the recruiting. My alert got happened is way late. Oh, yes, absolutely late. I should have gone on a little while ago. I was trying to let all the stories kind of chime in, but now I think we are at that threshing point to where we can talk about this now. So your boss asks you, do you want the good news or do you want the bad news? Most of the times, just by human nature, because we feel like the bad news will have the biggest impact. What is the bad news? What is the absolutely horrible news? Here is the ugly news. The ugly news is that Auburn's biggest rivals, Georgia, Alabama, LSU, even though LSU is absolutely terrible this year, have out-recruited Auburn yet again. And it's not even close. As a matter of fact, one of Auburn's top recruits, Armani Goodwin, has decommitted from Auburn a couple of weeks ago. And I told you guys, dude, he goes to LSU, right? So, all right, so we got some comments so far. I usually don't get distracted by the comments, but I want to talk about my alert. We got happened. It's way too late. Eagle Vernon, I like press conference from Kevin Steele. I like the QB. Roberts going to Bama, taking the bag. Holy crap. That's part of the bad. We're still talking about the ugly, though. All of Auburn's biggest rivals are the winners today. Alabama, I mean, if I remember, my last count, Alabama had five-star recruits. Now let me break this down for your Auburn Tiger mental size. Five-star recruits. Do you know how many five-star recruits in the country every year? 30 to 35. Alabama got 5 of them out of all the Power 5 teams that have access to these types of players. LSU, Clemson, Ohio State. Well, used to be Michigan, not Michigan no more. But Alabama's got 5 of them in key positions. All right, so let's look at these comments. Once again, it says the only problem I had with Gus is the passing offense. That is it. Draft time, I had a lot of problems with Gus Malzahn. As a matter of fact, my channel does not badmouth a coach. But one of the problems that I had with Gus Malzahn is transparency. Gus Malzahn was not transparent about what was happening with the program. He was not transparent about who's going to be calling plays. He wasn't transparent about a lot of stuff. Okay, so Auburn football is dead, not worth following anymore. 20-year Tennessee like death. I think that is wrong. I may do a video on that. Not today, though. I'm a little tired, but we're still at the ugly. Auburn got out recruited by all the teams that they're going to be favored to lose to next year. LSU, Alabama, and Georgia. Absolutely splat packed their asses on recruiting today, right? So it says, let's see, we got Auburn Orange and Blues, a regular on the channel. If we're landing in the top 5 in recruiting, we'll be in the same predicament. Why can't we get offensive linemen? You would go as much as run the ball. They would want to come. That's part of the bad part. We're at the ugly right now. Auburn has been out recruited against every team in the SEC that they are going to have to rub shoulders with in order to get to the SEC championship game. That includes Texas A&M. Texas A&M, who has not been in the conference that long, but Texas A&M have figured it out. They figured it out. You got to have a good offensive line. You have to have a good defensive line. You have to have stout cornerback play. You have to have they don't have a great quarterback, but they have a quarterback that can do the job. But the offensive line, the Maroon Goons, got them to the point where they're in the conversation to kind of sneak into the college football playoff. Where's Auburn at? Auburn is at 6-4 with a loss to Texas A&M. And I mean, arguably, given some logistics, probably could have lost to Ole Miss and Arkansas. Yes, sir. All right, so you still saying? All right, Keith Witherspoon, man, what's up, boy? Okay, Keith Witherspoon. Let me tell you about him. I got to put him out there. Keith Witherspoon goes back to my history as a college guy, right? I was a freshman at Alabama A&M University, and I want to go out and say Keith Witherspoon, I met him within the first, say, 4 or 5 days when I was at Alabama A&M, and the Splat Pack was kind of a thing back then. Man, what's up, Keith? Man, glad to see you. Always a pleasure, man. Thank you for joining the show tonight. Stephen Riley says, ugly, you fire your coach. Oh, man. Okay, so there's been a lot of speculation that, of course, Gus Malzahn is out. I mean, this is an absolute wrap for Gus Malzahn. But now there have been several players that have decided to part ways from the program. One of those guys is Mark Anthony Richards, a promising running back who recovered for injury under Auburn's watch. And he showed some promise here and there. Now he decides to roll out. A lot of people thought that, okay, well, since, Mark Anthony Richards is rolling out, then maybe that means, kind of, sort of, hopefully, wishful thinking that Armani Goodwin is coming to Auburn. Hell no. Armani Goodwin commits to LSU, which I figured he would anyway. Stephen Washington, strong showing of the strength of the program today, signing recruits with no head coach in place. That goes to the kind of sort of good Stephen Washington. We ain't got to the good yet because, with Auburn, we got to talk about the negative first. We got to talk about the ugly. We got to talk about how Alabama, Georgia, and LSU, Auburn has not won on the road against them since. Damn, it wasn't even in Gus Malzahn Sr. 0-12 against his biggest rivals on the road. He managed to beat Georgia, I think maybe once. Twice. He managed to beat Alabama, I think maybe twice. He managed to beat LSU, but all of that stuff was at home. Maybe we can get a coach. Maybe if it's even when we get to the bad, maybe it's even who we think might be the head coach at Auburn next year. So I'm tired of talking about the ugly. Let's talk about the bad. Here is the bad. The bad is Auburn is hurting absolutely for offensive linemen. And guess what happened today? Holy shit. The number one offensive lineman in, oh man, Steve, see that? Okay, let's get back to the ugly. Stephen Riley has made me go back to the ugly. I didn't even see this. Ole Miss has out recruited Auburn. But we're gonna go back to the bad to kind of console what he's talking about is even true about, you know what? We're going to talk about the coaching stuff too, but now we're to the bad. Stephen Riley made me get back to the ugly, talking about Ole Miss out. Oh, man, Ole Miss out recruits Auburn. Oh, sheesh. You know, oh, man. Maybe I should have went with my first gut and not even did a video tonight. When I got to hear Ole Miss out recruits Auburn. Oh, man, y'all, boy. But anyway, let's go to the bad. The bad is this. Auburn needed some offensive linemen, right? They got a 3-star recruit, but there was a guy out of North Shore, Texas. North Shore, Texas. Auburn is doing a pretty good job of going transcontinental. Well, not transcontinental, but at least, excuse me, at least trans-regional to where they can get some guys. Have had some success with Texas here in the past. It kind of looked like Jaden Roberts was going to come with his boy, Demartrius Davis, quarterback, and come to Auburn. Nope. Jaden Roberts decommits. I don't think he's recommitted yet. He says, hey, respect my decision. Auburn's got some coaching changes. I do understand that. But for that reason, I got to decommit. And I'm like, oh, man, okay, cool. We figured this was going to happen. You don't have a head coach going into the early signing period. But here's the good news. As we ease into kind of the good of all this, you still have the final signing period to where Auburn can get some guys. Jaden Roberts is on trend, though, to kick Auburn in the stomach and go to Alabama. Okay, great. Great. So let's look at the comments. Roberts would rather sit out and wait than come in and make a difference for us, Kevin said. So here we are easing to the good of all this. Auburn's number one recruit, in my opinion, Demartrius Davis. I think Demartrius Davis at quarterback is someone that Auburn needed to challenge Bo Nix. I saw an interesting article today. I might still do this one because I don't think this particular media outlet nailed it. But Bo Nix needs to be challenged at quarterback at Auburn. He is a quarterback that, let's just say, if he was somewhere else, would he still be the starter? Assuming who's behind him, probably not. He's still regressing. He's still doing some of the Bo Nix isms. We're not going to get to X's and O's here tonight. But I want to see in the spring. I'm not even talking about this little 12, 13 guy recruiting class that we got now. I'm talking about Bo Nix. I'm talking about a quarterback a genuine, non-biased quarterback battle without Gus Malzahn to bail him out. Let's think about the possibility of Demartrius Davis coming from Texas. Now, as a matter of fact, let's look at the similarities between Demartrius Davis and Bo Nix. Bo Nix garnished probably every possible award in Texas. Bo Nix garnished every possible award in Alabama. Texas and Alabama kind of not on the same stratosphere high school wise. I think Jaden Roberts comes in and is ready to take the spot. So I just found out that there is a possibility that not Demartrius Davis, but Jaden Roberts has signed with Alabama. So he can go over to Alabama and go to the purgatory of all the offensive linemen to where he'll never see the field. He will probably be a a scout offensive lineman, and that's a little bit of hate in there. So I ain't gonna do that. But big shout out to him. Thankful for his interest in Auburn, but we got to move on. So the good, the bad, the ugly. Here's where things get neutral for this whole thing. Who's gonna be your head coach? Okay, so do you go with Kevin Steele to where you probably retain your assistants? Do you go with an outside guy like Mario Cristobal, Lane Kiffin, who's going to want to bring that guys? Surely Lane Kiffin does not want to have Chad Morris as his offensive coordinator. Probably doesn't. I guarantee you, Lane Kiffin doesn't want to have Cody Burns as his wide receiver coach. So is Auburn ready to clean house, or are they really ready to spend some money to make some things happen? I absolutely love you guys. I wanted to address you guys post this very interesting early signing period, which is usually not a big event, but because of the precedent set from last year, huge event. Auburn still got a chance. Right now, resting at around 40 something ranking for this early signing period. But Auburn has bigger fish to fry administrative wise. Like this video, my name is Kennard Vernon Stewart, and I love talking to you all about these Auburn Tigers. Like the video, comment, and subscribe to your channel, our channel, the channel that we've built over the years to talk about Auburn football in a crazy kind of way every day. I might not always be right, but I'm always here. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.